Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Men's Yoga Podcast. Today on the podcast, we have one of Yoga's model, Mr. Braydon Mackenzie. And Braydon, we're just going to dive right into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
My name is Braydon Mackenzie. I am a movement meditation teacher, yoga meditation teacher, whatever, everyone wants to call it. I'm from British Columbia in Canada. Originally, I've been in Ontario for about 15 plus years now, but I'm moving back to British Columbia. About myself, I don't know, I'm a pretty active person. I love to travel. I spend most of my time with my friends or with my partner. When I'm not doing that, I'm meditating or working on my own wellness business pretty much. So it's been
Awesome.
an interesting past couple of years, to say the least.
So what's a day in the life of Braydon Mackenzie then?
An ideal day in the life, or like a realistic day in the life?
Let's go with a realistic day in the life, because we're going to be kind of, more realistic for people getting into yoga.
Realistically, lately, day in the life for me has been getting up, doing some sort of daily routine as much as I can possibly stick myself to, working from anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day, coming home, doing my yoga, movement, flexibility style practice, and then just relaxing until I fall asleep and do it all again the next day. Because of the pandemic, the wellness space has been a little difficult, since it's usually a lot of customer facing stuff, and that's what I enjoy doing. So the online stuff hasn't been it's been fun to do, but it's not the most financially stable, especially when the entire planet had to switch to doing the same thing at the same time. So I've had to do other things for work, which has taken up a lot of my time, but I do what I can in my off hours.
I think a lot of people, like you said, are dealing with that kind of transition and where are the next steps, right?
It's been like, I don't know, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. So now it's like you need to really focus on something specific that you really like doing and try to carve your own path that is not, in line with what everyone else is doing, or else you're just going to get lost in the fold.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to, right? It's so easy to get lost in this forest of whatever's happening.
Yeah.
How did you start your yoga journey?
I guess it's kind of typical to most people, but not like super typical. I was very into the gym, lifting all the weights and everything like that for the longest time, but it kind of got really monotonous and boring to me. You go there, you do the same thing every day. I mean, you feel how you feel. I guess it still feels nice, but I ran across people doing calisthenics on YouTube and stuff like that, which is all body weight exercises and doing the crazy planche and front levers and all these handstands and cool things.
Yeah.
And from getting into calisthenics, I eventually found my way into really physically focused yoga videos where they're doing a lot of the crazy poses and they're super flexible. And I found, if you ever heard of Dylan Werner, that's who that's who I ran into on YouTube, and I became obsessed with his programs online. And I found out he did a yoga teacher training. So he only does it once a year, and it was sold out for that year that I found out. So I waited I had to wait a whole year and a half to hopefully get a spot, because I knew it was super competitive. So basically I just trained as hard as I could for a year and a half on all the physical stuff, just to try to get ready for the possibility to get into the program. Luckily, I did get into his teacher training, and then I went and I did that. And I another one too in the same year, but that's essentially my gateway into yoga, was seeing people do the crazy physical stuff. And then once I actually met the teachers, I discovered the whole other side of what yoga actually is. It's not just, doing a handstand. So.
Right. Totally. And I think I think a lot of men kind of fall into it that way too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's all the other ways, but yeah, that's definitely one where you start off doing the physical stuff, as myself as well.
Yeah, all the Instagram stuff. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be able to do that.
So did you have to like try out to get into his like?
No, it's just he announces it. Like he'll just put it out on his Instagram or something like that. Oh, it's open for enrollment, right? So it could happen at any time of the day, and it can sell out in like 20 minutes. So I
Right.
had to be like, he never tells you like what time of the year he's gonna put it up at. So I was just like on my toes for a whole year, just like checking his Instagram, wait to see if he would eat, because you could sign up for his email list. Maybe he'll send it to there. So I didn't have to try out, but like I was just like nervous. I wouldn't see it in the first half an hour and it would sell out and I wouldn't be able to go on it for another year. So
Yeah, his
that
stuff
was
is
interesting.
incredible, and I can see where you've learned, because I mean your stuff's incredible as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was kind of like, for the longest time, I put him up on like this pedestal because he was such a crazy inspiration and stuff for me. But then it's really in that, you know, a lot of people say don't meet your heroes and stuff like that. I wouldn't say, I guess, not necessarily a hero, but meeting him, I think actually helped because he made you see like, you know, he's just like me and you.
right.
And he even
Yeah.
act like in person, he's just exactly like, you know, a person I would hang out with, but he just happens to be able to do, and he knows a hell of a lot. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
really cool.
And I mean he has the look that is related, like with, especially with me too, is like the
Yeah.
tattoos,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like he has the physique as well,
Yeah.
and then he can do all these stuff. So yeah, he is this like kind of like,
Yeah.
holy cow, right? Can I be
Yeah.
like that? Kind
I know.
of. So going back, you mentioned about some self-care practices.
Mhm.
What are yourself like? What is like a standard self-care practice for you?
Um, Typically I like to do it in the morning, and I do have like a set amount of things that I would like prefer to do. Obviously, it's hard to hit everything on your list, but if I would do self-care for like a daily practice, it would just be drink a lot of water as soon as I get up.
Cool.
I would meditate, move, read, and then on top of that, if I could fit anything else uh, in, I would try to do something a little new, and then like just hang out with some of my friends. But that's a daily kind of thing. Other than that, the thing that gets me the most is either being outside or yeah, hanging out with my friends. That's mostly what
Cool.
keeps me sane.
Yeah, I like that. I would say when I typically ask that, a lot of people don't bring those parts up, especially like the water
Yeah,
part, right?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
a huge thing to start off your day with.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then also, yeah, just like connecting, right? Connecting
yeah,
with people that you care about.
yeah. I mean, the whole yoga practice is basically just a connection practice. So if you're not actually connecting with other people, it kind of, you're missing about half the entire thing, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. Um, have you traveled anywhere for a deeper yoga experience?
Um, well, I did, so my two teacher trainings. The one was in Austria, and the other one I did was in Bali. So I technically those are the two two places I've traveled to. I haven't been able to do any traveling since then because they were a little hard on the wallet, but those two were quite the experience, I must say.
Yeah, like that's awesome. That must have been. So how long were you down there for both of them?
Uh, Austria, I was there for a month, and same for Bali, about a month.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, that
yeah.
must have been so awesome. That must
I know. I kind of just threw my savings at it and said, "Screw it, I'm gonna have a really fun year." So
got to take the leap, man. You got to take the leap sometime,
I
right?
know. I know. I was
Yeah.
right after quitting my full-time job too, so it was yeah, it was quite the leap, I must say.
Okay, so then going into that, so like what
Mhm.
has changed in your life, like since you've done these, like since you brought yoga in and since you've
Yeah.
made these leaps?
Um, it's really given me a new kind of perspective on who and like how who I want to be, and like if like, you know, I get to the end of, you know, this current lifetime and like look back and like I want to see like what see like what I've done and like be happy with it more as, you know, trying to get as much as I can out of the current system. I think it kind of like, I just get lost in everything, and then I'll just be another one of those people that's just like working to live for their whole life. I kind of like it, once I quit my like 9-to-5 job and I took all the training, it just kind of gave me like a better outlook on how I want to spend my time, really, because it's, it's our finite resource we have, and I kind of want to do as much as I can for not just myself, but for everyone else while I'm here, instead of just, focusing on directly on how much I can do for me.
Right. So have you felt that taking these steps, like you look back at yourself, like your younger self, and going like, man, I definitely made the right move. Like,
Yes.
the direction I was going that way was probably not the direction I needed to go in my heart, kind of deal, right?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I look and I wish I would have done it sooner, kind of, but
Totally. Yeah.
but I think a lot of people feel the same way. But yeah, I personally, I don't want to tell anybody how they should live, but personally for me, yeah, I think I just would have been a lot more unhappy. Even, I was more financially secure in my previous occupation, but I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like a bit of a void. Like I was just slowly moving through a life that I wasn't exactly enjoying as much.
Right. Just a condition that we were brought up to kind of feel that we needed to
Yeah,
do.
like, you get the job, you get the house, you get you get the kids, you settle down and you do that, and then you retire, and then you go and travel. Like that's pretty much what I've been told my whole entire life, but I don't know. For me, it's just not it.
I think I totally relate with that, because I was the same boat. I was working with guys that, I mean, you work to retire, right? And
Yeah.
then these guys, I'm watching them, they're retiring, and then like they lose their wife, or they'd
Yeah.
pass away not too long after. I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, this doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like that's the only way to do it. And thankfully, now there's a lot of people doing it a completely different way. But I think for the longest time, that's why like my mom and dad and stuff like that that's why they felt that way, because for the longest time, that's the way everyone lives. So
Yeah, yeah, it's just different nowadays.
I know, yeah.
Are there any other trainings that you do, or is it you kind of like stick with more of like the yoga practices? Like, do you any like Tai Chi, Qigong, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so lately I've actually I've stepped back from the traditional like yoga style practices, like just doing a ton of vinyasa classes or ashtanga, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been into a lot of like really dedicated flexibility training, and also, yeah, I love Qigong. I've gotten to Qigong like last year,
Oh, it's
and
awesome, man.
I've kind of been like slightly obsessed with it for
Yeah, same with me.
yeah,
Totally.
the past year. So yeah, I'm not not doing yoga. It's just kind of, I've done it for so long, like the strict practices and sequences and stuff, that I'm just opening my practice up to a little bit more of a different routine for a little bit of a while right now.
Oh, that's cool. You know what's funny is doing your meditations, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I thought totally I could be doing qigong with some of these things, man. Like
That's awesome.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So okay, where was we going now? Okay, so what was your biggest learning experience you feel so far, obviously?
Yeah, I've only got a small 30 years to look back on, but I mean, yeah, to be honest, it's probably what I already said. That when I quit my job that I've had for like, well, because I was in, so right before I quit my job, I also just left the military. So I was in the military for 6 years, at the same time that I was doing a full-time job for a construction company. So I had just left the military, and then I ended up leaving my job like not that long after. And then I just, I had no job, and I went traveling to do these teacher trainings and stuff like that. But I think the biggest lesson from that was learning that um, I don't have to get stuck in that mold of working that 9-to-5 job for the rest of my life just to pay for where I want to live. I think you can, it gets thrown around a lot, but you can do, you know, the things you dream to do, or like do what you love, in a way that allows you to live sustainably, maybe not, you know, extravagantly, but in a way that I think is much more fulfilling as a person.
And giving you more of what you need than what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So then following that is, what is your, probably your greatest life experience so far then?
Probably going to Bali. It sounds like a cliche thing. Like, I went to Bali, it was awesome. But I'm not meaning like, you know, the cool Instagram pictures on the beach and, you know, by the waterfalls and stuff. The people in Bali were like some of the most incredible people I ever met. And the way they live there is it's so focused on community instead of like here, I have 2 neighbors on either side. I don't know either of their names. I don't know anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
But in Bali, the whole community, everybody, they know everybody. They all live together in these big communities together, and everybody has like an active role in the community, and they always have these crazy huge celebrations and stuff together, like constantly. I don't know. It seemed like such a better way to live to me, because, you know, and they're not like crazy well off there. I mean, I drove around everywhere. It's, you know, it doesn't look like a suburb here, but they all seem like they're much more happy than a lot of the people I meet in Canada.
Yeah, like you go here, like there's a community there. Here you drive home from your 9 to 5, pull into the driveway, go in, you know what I mean? Put on the TV, cook some
Yeah.
dinner,
Yeah.
and then you don't go outside much, right?
Yeah. I hope I don't see my neighbors. Like, I don't want to have to talk to them, but like, I don't know. It's not like I want to feel that way, but I feel like it's like this weird thing between people around here where it's like, you just don't want to interact.
I want privacy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, you know, privacy is really nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it'd be better if, you know, if everyone just was a much more of a community than an individual.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost, life needs to go in that direction right now, it seems. We
Yeah.
need this.
I mean, we could definitely use it. There seems to be way too much division.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So are you teaching yoga anywhere? Like, I know you have some meditations that are amazing, and I definitely want you to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess, what are you currently offering, like, for people?
So I haven't been teaching anywhere physically, obviously, because it hasn't been the best of the time to do it, but I have done a couple classes like online with a few friends that I know out in different places. So I do, as for what I offer, I do have a class that's based off of my meditation podcast, which is called, the podcast is called Into Stillness. The class is also called Into Stillness. So it's basically a whole class around like a mobility style sequence that will get you to feel more comfortable, like sitting in a seated posture for an extended period of time. So it starts off with like a functional movement / like weird, funky mobility routine. And then we sit down for 30-45 minutes and do a meditation from the podcast.
Oh, that's sweet. I didn't know you did that. I'm gonna have to try that out, because I've been doing.
It's a new thing. It's a relatively new thing I've been developing. I've only taught it a few times. I'm kind of just working on refining it. And then once I'm more in a settled location, because I don't really have a room big enough to do a class out of right now,
Right.
since I've been doing it online. So the plan is, when I get out to BC, to rent a space where I can like professionally film it, and then, you know, and then I'll have that, so I can offer that as something, and then I can also show that video to different studios and stuff like that, see if it's something they'd be interested in doing in person.
Man, that sounds awesome. So, and then you do like I mean, to me, it seems like you do a lot with meditation, which is huge. And your meditations, like your podcast meditations, are awesome. Like, you have this crazy voice, man, that kind of like it's like powerful and strong, but at the same time, it kind of like, it's so soft and like tones you right in. And
Yes, thank you.
I like how you also kind of touch on setting the room up, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you press the meditation, you don't even really think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't get the mindset to go into it. You just press the meditations, playing music, whatever. But you're like kind of justifying to get yourself prepared for this, right? And
yeah, I'm not even sure how I had got so into meditation, because I was the guy that just wanted to do crazy weird shit with my body. But I think I realized at some point that there's a million people doing the physical everything kind of stuff. And what I learned doing my trainings was that the meditation is it's accessible to everybody, and it's like one of the best ways to connect with who you are, and like connect with yourself and stuff like that, which the more you learn and understand about yourself, the better you are to everyone around you. And I think the more you look inside, the less divided you feel from everybody else. So that's why I decided to focus more on the meditation side, even though I got into it for the physical side. And that's what led me into doing the podcast and stuff last year. And I did my own meditation course that's online. I even made like a little book. I'm working on a much larger book also right now, and stuff like that. I got a ton of plans that hopefully happen, but yeah, it's kind of how I ended up doing a lot of meditation focused stuff.
well, the writing is very poetic. Like I don't even know if it's writing, but the words are very, very poetic.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, when I started doing the podcast, I don't know why, I just assumed people just wrote meditations like very well worded, and like kind of made it as poetic and cool as they could, and that's how they shared them. But then when I remember asking people that I knew to do episodes for my podcast, and they'd be like, "What do you mean write it?" Like they just like free form it off the top of their head, which I guess makes a lot of sense. But I just assumed, it'd be, I don't know, much more creative to like write down a really interesting script and share it that way, instead of just, hoping that I don't trip over my words talking to a bunch of people.
Right.
So that's kind of where I got into making really fantastical, cool worded type of guided meditations.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's almost like a yoga nidra kind of thing in a way.
Yeah.
That I find. And then I love how you break, like you pause, right? And you allow, like, because the music is awesome. And I love how you pause and give that time, right? That space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pause, like I'm currently writing a book that's based all around guided meditation, and there's like a bunch of pillars, I think, that go with a cool guided meditation, and silence is definitely one of them. Like you need to have moments where you're not just listening to someone talk, because essentially the most important part of the practice is the silent part, where you are, focusing on what's going on inside you. So yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard there was one thing that stuck with me. I heard a guy on this podcast, and I wish I could reference it because I'm not too sure. But he was like, when you go up to a piano, you don't go up and hit all the keys, because it's just going to sound like a mess. He's like, you have to have the pauses in between to create the beautiful melody. And I was like, man, like that just hit with me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, well, thanks so much for today, but I want everybody to know where they can find you, where they can hit you up, and we'll include the links to all this as well. So let everybody know where they can get you at.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. This was awesome. So you can find me on my website, which is braydonmackenzie.com. If you don't know how to spell that, it'll be wherever Matt posts the links. My Instagram is @BraydonMackenzie, YouTube, Braydon Mackenzie. And then obviously my guided meditation podcast, which is not only guided meditations, but that's mostly what it is, which is called Into Stillness, which is on, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Awesome. I highly suggest everyone checking out Braydon's stuff. It is awesome. And I'm not
very much
kidding about that. It's great. I do it. And I guess we'll see everybody on the next podcast. And again, Braydon, thanks so much. And we're definitely going to have you back on, and we'll talk some more stories.
I would love to. Maybe we can do it in person next time.
Yes, out in BC. For sure.
Definitely.